This is going to be a super video! Hello, and welcome everybody to this week's The Inferno Talks episode. I haven't recorded an episode of this series of mine in a long time, but here we are, where we discuss the Straw Hat shipwright Cutty Flam, also known as Cyborg Franky, the man who built the second ship of the Straw Hats, the Thousand Sunny, the man who turned down an invitation from Kozuki Odin to journey with the King of the Pirates. Now, that's enough hype for Franky. In this week's video, we will be talking about Franky's backstory, goals, abilities, and relationship with the Straw Hats. Additionally, if you enjoy my content, if you want more, please do feel free to check out, and please consider leaving a like on this video and subscribing. I do lots of anime and gaming related content. Please feel free to check out my content once again, and without further ado, let's start, shall we? Cutty Flam was born to a pair of pirates somewhere in the South Blue 36 years ago. When he was 10 years old, his parents threw him off their ship into the ocean, which is just one of the worst things a parent could have ever done to their kid. But this is One Piece, you guys, where parents just leave kids in treasure chests. Oh my goodness. Aside from putting an iron mask or imprisoning and ultimately disowning the kid. Okay, I'm like being dog in my script here, but I digress. He was then rescued by a legendary shipwright named Tom, who designed the ship of the King of the Pirates, or the Pirate King, Gold D. Roger, and he also designed the Sea Train. In Water 7, Tom made Cutty Flam his apprentice after seeing him build a cannon out of scrap iron. Tom's other apprentice, Iceberg, gave him the nickname Franky because Cutty Flam was thought to be a weird Franky name. Was 12. Tom was trialed for building the Ara Jackson, or the ship of the Pirate King, but was pardoned due to the completion of the Sea Train. However, when Franky was 26, he was framed by CP5 garbage leader Spandam, who was after the ancient weapon Polluton blueprint, which was handed down to Tom through the generation of Water 7's shipwrights. Spandam used Franky's battleships and attacked Water 7. Though Tom and his apprentices stopped the attack, it was made to appear that Tom and his apprentices caused the attack, and Tom was sentenced to death as Spandam was taking away Tom. Tom hits Franky and in the face with a rifle. Franky later stood in front of Puffing Tom, trying to rescue Tom. When Franky was run down by the train, his body was badly injured and was presumed dead. And honestly, this is one of the gut-wrenching part of Franky's backstory, because Franky at this point already given up on being a shipwright, right? Like, if it caused this much damage, why build the ship at all? But then Tom steps in and snap him out of it and said, the creator must not disown his creation, no matter the damages it caused. I mean, this the message that entire scene job mind blowing me to the max. That was an intense, emotional kind of scene the first time I saw it. Even now, it's very much intense kind of scene for this kind of arc. So that's my 2 cents on how I like Franky's backstory in his thing. Originally, I think, or it wasn't it originally Franky was the one who's supposed to be sentenced to death, but then Tom steps in and takes the blame for it. So yeah, kind of emotional in this way where Tom, practically Franky's fatherly figure, had to sacrifice himself just to save Franky from execution as well. So that's my opinion. And then I have people been theorizing that Tom is not really dead though, so he's somewhere in the world. But that's just another theory for another day. Managed to fix himself up using spare parts from an abandoned ship and became a cyborg, presumed dead. The next time he met Iceberg, he was instructed to change his name and entrusted the Pluton's blueprints until he ultimately decided that he needs to burn the blueprints better than handing it over to someone trashy like Spandam. So yeah, from that standpoint, it's just amazing to me that this shipwright is apparently skilled enough to restructure his entire body into a cyborg. Just is freaking Franky a doctor here? Just like, how did he restructure? Okay, it's One Piece. Let's not question like the validity of this, because it's One Piece. It's where humans can be giant or ant size. So it's One Piece. That's the only explanation. Because how can a shipwright, no relation to medicine, medicinal science, can restructure himself into a cyborg? Just saying. So that's my rant on that bit. But then again, I do love that he just decided to burn the blueprints instead of handing it over to the world government. Like, that got me to respect Franky. I mean, I already respected Franky more because of how he takes care and he stands up for his men, but this is just elevated Franky's character in my book to 11. So yeah, shout out to my boy Franky, one of my favorite Straw Hats of all time. Underrated Straw Hat, but still my favorite. During the 2-year time skip, he studied machinery in Baltimore, home of Vegapunk's first laboratory. His dream is to build the ship of dreams, the Thousand Sunny, and have the ship sail around the world. Franky is a cyborg. Due to his metallic body, he's great at both close range and mid-range combat. He's quite adept at carpentry and innovation, like building a stairway during battle. Yes, Franky did it first and should be suing for copyright infringement from Fortnite. I did not add that in my script. That was totally off the script. He should totally get that copyrighted. And when he boosted Motobaro or Duval's Pet Bull using a motor support, Franky also don't shy away from tactical maneuvers such as, oh my goodness, coup de vent. I don't know how to pronounce coup de vent, which is a blast of high pressurized air from his rear. Yes, he weaponized his freaking fart. That's all you have to know. He weaponized. He's freaking a weird guy. He's a pervert. He's a weird guy, but still one of my absolute favorite character of One Piece. He weaponized his fart, everybody. The most ingenious character of all of the Straw Hats. Weaponizing farts. His cyber components has an automated hairstyling mechanism, fridge, firearms, weapons such as the weapons right, chain extendable arm for mid-range combat, and a laser, the Franky Radical Beam. Whilst General Franky, a mech he constructed during his stay in Vegapunk's lab, in Baltimore, I am going to include it as I'm gonna be including General Franky and under Franky's ability because it is mainly used by Franky. Though one of the components of the General Franky, the Branchial Tongue, has been piloted by Usopp and Chopper, but overall Franky is the only one who's shown to pilot General Franky. The General Franky has tougher armor than Franky's body. It is equipped with a sword named Franken. And a side note about that, about the metal that General Franky is built out of, is it was actually featured in one of the cover story when like Wapol was like just randomly mixing things up inside his body. He discovered a new type of metal, a metal stronger than any other metal in the world of One Piece, called it Wapo metal. So General Franky is made out of Wapo metal that he found on Baltimore, on Vegapunk's laboratory. Okay, we're done with Franken there. It has a limited range of motion, mainly just rotational range of motion. So it is highly ineffective. His robot is capable of launching an attack similar to both the coup de vent and the Franky radical beam as the general cannon, which fires a large blast of compressed air at his opponent, which Franky compares the power of the Thousand Suns to Thousand Suns Gallon Cannon. Oh my goodness, I'm mixing up my. So the General Cannon is just similar in power, much more compressed than the Thousand Suns Gallon Cannon, essentially speaking, and his neck can do that apparently. So yes, more on that ability for Franky. Bit right there. I'm gonna go off the cup and describe the relationship of Franky with different Straw Hat members, because once again, I iterate it every time I discussed this bit. The Straw Hat crew is more like a family than a crew to me. So in my opinion, just describing how he interacts with the Straw Hat is like, for me, how I understand their friendship. Like, for example, Luffy and Franky did not start off in like the best of terms. I mean, Franky literally attacked Usopp, so they were initially enemies turned into comrades. And then when he joined Usopp, he was really impressed with the Thousand Sun, and every time Franky is done with this new invention, Luffy always fanboys over it and see it the Staff of Legend or the Staff of Dreams, because man and robot is kind of intertwined in Luffy's head. Like, similar to how Usopp and Chopper also fanboy over Franky's cyborg body and his adventure. Same deal there. All three of them respects Franky's strength and intelligence and even ingenuity at times. Like, they just fanboy over him. Meanwhile, we have Zoro and Sanji, which is more stoic towards their interaction with Franky. Sanji even hypocritically states that Franky is a pervert, because he's also one. I mean, it takes one to know one, Mr. Sanji. But then again, he was also impressed by how Franky devised all of this mechanism. Like, when I think one instant of this was when Luffy wanted Sanji to be the German knight, or like to wear the raid suit. He's like, Sanji was like, we already have Franky for all those weird gadgets. Like, he knows Franky as the gadget guy, not him. So despite the fact that Sanji is in fact a gadget guy as well, because he is a mutant by Germa 66, just saying. So yeah, there's a little bit of connection there, and then not much connection with Zoro, aside from the fact that Zoro does have a tremendous respect for Zoro's combat capabilities and how amazed he also was of the Thousand Sunny. That was just gratefulness in his part. So yes, I think they also kind of fanboy over Franky's robotic parts because of course they're men, but that shared sentiment is not on Nami and Robin because, well, they're ladies. They don't understand the attraction in robots, just saying. But regardless, Nami, ever since the Onigashima, have referred to Franky as Big Brother, like Big Bro, Franky, and like just thanks for saving her against the enemies such as Big Mom and even Sasaki. I think was it Sasaki? Oh no, it was Big Mom, such as Big Mom. So she does have tremendous respect for Franky as a member of the crew, and refers to him as Big Bro, which is just cute of Nami. And Robin, they have a little bit of interaction back when they were traveling to the sea train from Water 7 in Annie's lobby, and like Franky ultimately respect and now understood Robin is not really the bad person he was led to be. So that fact alone made him bet on the Straw Hat to save or to burn or to save Robin. He made a bet that the Straw Hat can save Robin, and then he burned the Pluton blueprints. So that alone, they have a more tight-knit kind of connection to one another. And surprisingly, one thing that I actually was surprised about is the connection or the relationship between Franky and Jinbei, which is gonna be the next not the next round, because the next round after him is Brook, which I already wrote the script of the Brook discussion video. So I'm gonna be tackling that after I tackle Jinbei, because Jinbei, I was surprised that he was also amazed by Jinbei's helmsmanship and how he helms his masterpiece, the Thousand Sun, and he's like the co-helmsman, because every time Luffy or the Devil Fruit user is off the board, Jinbei is always first to rescue him because he is a fishman. He is technically faster in the water. So yeah, he's the first to rescue the Devil Fruit user, and Franky while Jinbei is in rescue mode, will take over the helm form. So that's kind of like a connection between the two that I've observed so far, because Jinbei is just a recent addition. And another thing for Brook, last thing for Brook, I don't really have anything to say, because Brook, just like Franky, was also a pervert, and again, they respect each other in strength. But one thing that stood out to me for Brook and Franky's interaction is the very first talk they have about Brook's backstory, like back when Brook saved them against that giant spider shadow zombie, because Franky was like, why are you trying so hard? You're already a skeleton. You already died once. Do you really think that friend of yours is still waiting for you? And Brook was like, even if he's not waiting for me, I still have to return to that spot, because death is never an apology. Like, that entire scene made me like goosebumps. That is my favorite Franky Brook interaction of all time. Like, that just made Franky respect Brook even more in my opinion. That was in Thriller Bark a bit. One of the key moments in Thriller Bark that I really love is that interaction with Brooke and Franky. Just that. That is my favorite interaction. And so far, they haven't really gone into like any details on how they highlight their interaction throughout the series. But this was just one of my favorite moments in Thriller Bark, aside from the nothing happens scene. Or, yeah, the nothing happens scene. Without further ado, that would be it for my Franky discussion video. Hopefully that is like all of it. If I did miss anything about my one of my favorite character or one of my favorite Straw Hat members, please do leave that in the comment section below. And let's get this discussion going, because I always miss something about my favorite characters. Like when I did Luffy's discussion video, I forgot the tone of sheesh or stuff. So without further ado, if you do enjoy this content, if you find it informative, please do leave a like and subscribe. I do lots of anime, Pokemon, and gaming related content on my YouTube channel. Without further ado, see you in the next video. Bye bye.